Back to Wisconsin, and the big question is that Donald Trump, does he have a problem with women? In our new Fox Business poll, Ted Cruz holds a commanding lead over Trump when it comes to women voters in the Badger State. Greta is hosting a town hall with Donald Trump. Is this Sunday night at 8 p.m. on Fox News. The Wisconsin native joins me now. All right, Greta, even before this week, there was talk of Donald Trump having a problem with women voters. I don't think it got any better. What do you think it goes from here? Where do you see?
Well, obviously, the poll says that Ted Cruz is favored by women at 19 points over Donald Trump, and that is a commanding lead. So, you know, the polls are what the polls are. Now, are they to be believed? And I used to be a big believer in polls until Eric Cantor had that poll that had him have a commanding lead over his opponent, and then he lost. Just like in 2008, I used to predict who was going to be nominees, and then Secretary Clinton got beaten by President Obama, and then Senator Obama. So, you know, if you look at the polls, there's no question about it. There's a 19-point lead by Ted Cruz. You know, I'm going to wait until Tuesday night to see how the women did vote.
Well, so having said that, then the Trump campaign shouldn't make any sort of overtures or any sort of moves to at least solidify or sort of jumpstart, if you will, his approval rating amongst women, or just kind of let it go where it is.
Oh, I think every candidate should be trying to get as many votes as he or she can, and obviously with those kind of numbers, Donald Trump has a lot of work to do based on that poll. So, I mean, I wouldn't ignore any opportunity to get any voter in any demographic. So, yes, he should do what he can. Now, what can he do? It is now Friday, and the vote is Tuesday in Wisconsin. You know, I mean, that's up for the campaign to do.
You know, I was looking at a YouGov poll, and they talked about the tweet with Heidi Cruz's wife and GOP women. Again, it's a poll. 67% of them thought it was inappropriate. But I think, to your point, whether it's accurate or not, this is a group of people that he could bring in, that he could get on board, because these are side issues. They become something of a circus, and they've dominated the headlines. But do you think he's going to...
You know what, I don't know if I'd call them a side issue, because if this is an issue that really matters to you, and if this is an issue when a woman goes into a polling booth and thinks that he's going to be unfair to women, that is going to hurt him in the polling booth. So I don't think necessarily these are, quote, side issues. I think they're important issues.
So then, having said that, do you think it's time, and you're going to have him on a town hall, will you ask him if it's time for him to maybe use the olive branch, particularly when it comes to women voters? Hey, an apology
Charles,
might not be out of the question.
But what's the answer? I mean, here's the problem is that, like, you know, at this point, you know, on essentially the eve of the primary, what is the olive branch? Exactly what is that?
Well, I would say, let's say on the Heidi retweet, the photograph thing, he seems like he's coming around, but he just won't come out and say it was an actual mistake and I apologize.
If you're expecting an apology out of any politician any time, you know, Charles, I hope you're not holding your breath, because, I mean, this has been a problem with a lot of politicians for a lot of time. They make mistakes, and they are, they're reluctant to say there's a mistake.
I've been waiting.
And of course, Donald Trump doesn't. I think Donald Trump said about 6 months ago he doesn't apologize. Or something like that.
I got you. I just wonder if it's somewhere in this quiver. But I agree with you. I've been waiting 7 years for President Obama to have a mea culpa. I want to switch for a moment, though, to Hillary Clinton, even though she won't be at this particular town hall. This email scandal, I don't think it's gone away. And you got to wonder, how can she be a viable candidate if, indeed, the FBI brings her in for the interview and it gets worse from there?
Well, and look, you know, she's a viable candidate if the Democratic Party wants her, so she will always remain viable in that way. I'm a former criminal defense lawyer. I don't know what's in these emails. I only know what I read in the newspaper. I only know about this case what everybody else does. And I can tell you, as a former criminal defense attorney, if she were my client, I would be worried. Now, I always worried about all clients, but, you know, it's not a good sign to have your client interviewed by the FBI. But that's, that's just, sort of the criminal defense lawyer being fearful based on what you know from the outside.
All right. Greta, the 9 p.m. Sunday, we'll all be watching. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.